Good evening. And a very special good evening to the economics class of 2016. My name is Jim Adams. I chair the Department of Economics, and I have the great pleasure of welcoming you to this celebration of commencement. On stage with me this evening are 11 of my faculty colleagues. They will give you a little wave when I read their names. Please hold your applause until I've introduced them all. Ron Caldwell, Alan Deerdorf, Mitchell Dudley, James Hines, Miles Kimball, Andrei Levchenko, Stan Cito, Matthew Shapiro, Frank Stafford, Adam Stevenson, and Linda Tisar. Also on stage with me are those undergraduates who are receiving prizes and honors in economics. I will not introduce them now, but I will ask them to wave as a group. For many years, I participated in a different event for parents and students. Some of you may have attended some version of this. It was called Campus Day. And it's a program designed for high school seniors who applied to Michigan, were accepted by Michigan, and were trying to decide whether or not to come here. Campus Day was a day of questions. Where should I go? What should I study? How well will I do? How much will I learn? Well, just as Campus Day was a day of questions, so today is a day of answers. And for those of you who are graduates, the answers to the first few questions are clear. You chose Michigan, you chose economics, and you are receiving one of the most demanding undergraduate diplomas that Michigan offers. But what about the answer to that last question, the most important question, the question about intellectual growth and development? Only you can answer that question definitively, but I myself can say this. Last year, for the first time, I taught a large lecture course for freshmen and sophomores in the LSA Honors Program. The title of the course was Capitalisms, and my goal was to explore the many forms that capitalism has taken over the centuries and across the globe. It was a wonderful experience for me, an opportunity to examine everything from the Medici capitalism of Renaissance Florence to the industrial capitalism of Manchester, England, and Manchester, New Hampshire in the 19th century, to the global capitalism of today. What made that experience so exciting for me was not just the subject matter, but also the students. The students were terrific, extremely intelligent, extremely eager to participate in class discussions, and extremely quick to learn. Now, I also taught last year a course on the European economy since World War II. This course was designed for seniors majoring in economics. These students were also terrific, intelligent, eager, and quick to learn. And yet these students were different from the students in capitalisms. Most of the European economy students had already spent 3 years at Michigan studying lots of economics. And it showed, in addition to intelligence and eagerness and quickness, the seniors brought 2 additional qualities to their studies. First, they know how to think critically about ideas and events. Second, they have sound knowledge of how the economic world actually works. This is the real Michigan difference. This is the real reason why those who stay in economics at Michigan will indeed be intellectual champions. So what accounts for this difference? True, Michigan economics is hard. In fact, many students find it too hard. But hard is not the same thing as mind-building. I myself attribute the intellectual value of a Michigan degree in economics to 3 factors. First, it is partly attributable to the faculty. Michigan is an elite department of economics. Since 1880, when the department was created, 4 members of the faculty have served as elected presidents of the American Economic Association, the professional organization to which virtually all professional economists belong. In Washington, 3 Michigan economists have served on the President's Council of Economic Advisors, and 1 has served on the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. When I was an undergraduate studying economics far away from Ann Arbor, my reading lists were full of books and articles written by members of the Michigan faculty. But faculty are not the only teachers in the undergraduate program. Many classes have discussion sections, and these sections are led by students pursuing a PhD in economics here. It's important, therefore, to realize that Michigan also has an elite doctoral program. Many of our doctoral alumni go on to distinguished academic careers at leading research universities and at leading liberal arts colleges. Others go on to distinguished careers in government. Among the economists working in Washington for the Federal Reserve System, more receive their PhDs at Michigan than at any other university. As important as the faculty are, and as important as the graduate students are, we should not forget the third and most important reason why the study of economics at Michigan is so rewarding. And that is the exposure each student in the major has to all the other students in the major. Taken individually, Michigan economics students are loaded with talent and drive. Considered as a community, however, Michigan economics is loaded with boundless energy and relentless stimulation. Where do the energy and the stimulation come from? They come from the diversity of the student body. This diversity takes every form imaginable. As a result, whenever we explore an issue in class, our students bring an amazingly rich variety of life experiences to the conversation. Knowledge and wisdom depend on more than the reading of books and the transcription of lectures. They depend on continually being forced to re-examine one's assumptions and one's expectations. The diversity of life experience at a school like Michigan, and especially in the economics major, is an essential ingredient in the Michigan difference. And so, on behalf of my colleagues, to those of you who are parents, I say thank you. Thank you for sharing your children with us. And to those of you who are students, and especially to the hundreds of you who know about crushed peanut donuts, I say thank you for making our classroom so stimulating. Thank you for bringing such satisfaction to me and my colleagues at the University of Michigan. Our featured speaker this evening is Dr. Ellen Hughes-Cromwick. Dr. Hughes-Cromwick received her bachelor's degree from the University of Notre Dame, majoring in government and French. She then received a master's degree in international development and a PhD in economics from Clark University in Worcester, Massachusetts. After school, she has had an amazingly varied career. For example, in the private sector, she was a senior economist at Mellon Bank and the chief global economist at Ford Motor Company. In the public sector, she was a staff economist at the Council of Economic Advisors and is now the chief economist at the United States Department of Commerce. At one stage of her career, she was even a professor of economics. We are very fortunate indeed to have Dr. Hughes-Cromwick with us this evening. Please help me to welcome her to the lectern. Dr. Hughes-Cromwick.
Thank you very much. Professor Adams, Chair of the Economics Department. Professor Stafford, Director of Honors. Professor Levchenko, Director of Undergraduate Studies. Members of the faculty, administration, parents, family members, friends, and to you, the graduates of 2016, welcome to this very special celebration. Congratulations. It is April 29th, your day to shine. We're here today to gather inspiration and motivation to do great things, to exceed our own expectations and even those of your parents. Even though we're here to celebrate, your economics major, I want to start with a few biology facts. Phytoplanktons supply over 50% of the world's oxygen from the minutiae of ocean life. By combining the sun's energy and nutrients in the water, phytoplanktons perform photosynthesis, which is essential to present and future life. You are the phyto nation supplying the oxygen of the future. Our Midwest phytos are particularly robust. I remember attending the University of Notre Dame, feeling those cold mornings as I walked down the South Quad for an early French class. Early means anything before noon. In both Ann Arbor and South Bend, the bittersweet cold in February reminds us of our most far-fetched dreams, beating Michigan State. Winter spurs eternal hope here in the Midwest. April 29th is your day to embrace the pride from your accomplishment, to inspire you. I'll start with a story about a woman who aspired to win a Nobel Prize in economics. She lived in Western Michigan, and one day she encountered a hiker who was walking alongside her cornfield. The hiker walked over to her and said, "Excuse me, could you tell me what you're doing?" "I'm trying to win a Nobel Prize in economics," she replied. "A Nobel Prize?" inquired the hiker, puzzled. "How?" "Well, I heard that they give a Nobel Prize to people who are out standing in their field." Well, we can all aspire to the stature of a Nobel Prize. I recall listening to President Carter, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, at my graduation on May 22nd, 1977, and being inspired by him. His speech, nearly 40 years ago, concerned human rights and his vision for freedom and peace. You may be surprised that back then he noted that the, quote, new democracies of that time, Spain, Greece, India, and Portugal, despite the turmoil of the Asian crisis in the late 1990s, the financial crisis of 2008, and the European debt crisis more recently, these governments and their people have allowed democracy to plant the roots of freedom for future generations. President Carter spoke about Vietnam. You know, during my youth, that was our reality TV show every evening with Walter Cronkite. Many of us wore silver bracelets with the name of a soldier missing in action. President Carter alluded to the adoption of, quote, the flawed and erroneous principles and tactics of our adversaries, sometimes abandoning our own values for theirs. We fought fire with fire, never thinking that fire is better quenched with water, unquote. To me, this means that human rights and freedom in this global economy can best be supported with actions rooted in economics. We can spread human rights by building open markets, making information freely available and transparent, encouraging freedom of speech, building infrastructure, and developing a government that, as President Carter said, quote, can be both competent and more humane. Human rights and freedom are intertwined with economics. Nobel laureate Milton Friedman, in his 1962 book, Capitalism and Freedom, laid out key principles regarding the way in which a capitalist system can ensure the rights of all people. He called for the advancement of civil rights and free speech, but limited government, especially with regard to fiscal policy. For him, big government and economic freedom were negatively correlated. Elinor Ostrom won the Economics Nobel Prize in 2009 for her work summarized in the book Governing the Commons. Under extensive fieldwork, Dr. Ostrom showed that if left to themselves to form associations, communities will sort out rules by which to govern and to use their common resources effectively and efficiently. Ostrom's fieldwork demonstrated how some voluntary organizations could govern common areas such as forests, water rights, and fisheries. There's something very humane about the research she conducted, and her being the only woman awarded a Nobel Prize in economics. Another Nobel laureate in economics, Amartya Sen, contributed mightily to linking human rights and economics. In 1999, he talked about the so-called, quote, unfreedom. Quote, lack of substantive freedom sometimes relates directly to economic poverty, which robs people of the freedom to satisfy hunger, to achieve sufficient nutrition, or to obtain remedies for treatable illnesses, unquote. These principles joining human rights and economics became more important to me after I experienced 9/11. My professional organization, the National Association for Business Economics, held its annual meeting at the Marriott Hotel attached to the base of the South Tower. I don't have to tell you that the terror that we all experienced that day was universal. I remember watching from the street as the second plane hit the South Tower and seeing and feeling the suffering and pain stretch across the world. Having survived that day, I vowed to be a better leader and to promote integrity and respect for human rights. I learned that there's no way to go it alone. To strive toward a bigger purpose, we all have to speak up and be counted. I hope you'll share this passion for human rights, for freedom, for peace, and for an economy serving all. To fight fire, as President Carter said, with water. Otherwise, the possibility of future tragedies, both human and economic, will only grow in the 21st century. Human rights and economics can be partners across the globe. A market-based system has the best likelihood to improve human rights over time and to promote prosperity. Neither markets at all times nor a heavy-handed government can lead to sustained improvements in human rights and economic growth. What is time-tested is that a market-based system with a proper role for government can contribute to an improved society. But the preservation and expansion of human rights, quote, the right to life, equality under the law, and freedom of expression, economic rights such as the rights to work, social security, and education, also depend on superb leadership in both the public and the private sectors. This, I believe, is what President Carter meant by being both competent and humane. Public policy lies at the intersection of human rights and economics. At this crossroads, we see the fundamental need for what's called evidence-based policymaking and inspired leadership. Evidence-based policymaking is addressed in a new law enacted on March 30th called the Evidence-Based Policymaking Commission Act of 2016. This bipartisan legislation was co-sponsored by Senator Patty Murray and Speaker Paul Ryan. The act will set up an 18-month commission to conduct a comprehensive study of the data inventory, data infrastructure, database security, and statistical protocols related to federal policymaking. The commissioners will determine how these data can be maintained and made accessible to researchers from both the private and the public sectors. These data can be used for education, research, and analysis. The data could be accessed to perform program evaluations and policy-relevant research. It will enable federal agencies to understand the effectiveness of policies and for our congressional representatives to have an understanding of how to improve these policies. I hope you will follow the Commission's efforts. This is an important step toward what we hope will be advanced tools for policy making. Our policies have supported a movement toward equal opportunities in our economy, but the results fall below what should be achieved. Our nation's income inequality and economic mobility are major challenges for your generation and mine. We need to embrace new solutions and drive change. We need inspired leadership to address these challenges. Inspired leaders seek a higher purpose and achieve a greater good for humanity. Leadership includes being open to making mistakes, accepting criticism, making changes, moving forward, and providing a safe environment free from discrimination and fear. Leadership is about the process of doing it with dignity and respect as much as it is about the content of what you do. In my 25 years of private sector experience, I was humbled in learning how important market forces are in developing leadership skills. Being a team member as chief economist at Ford Motor Company during the financial crisis taught me about courage and having the strength to make good decisions under pressure. Along with thousands of Ford employees, we were able to change the course of future events with many Wolverines on the team. It happened just 35 miles from here. It's a story about teamwork, dedication, a commitment to be transparent with data and analysis, and recognizing that the economy and the automotive industry were transformed by global forces. To be on the brink of bankruptcy and say no to a bailout takes courage. I remember our economics team playing a small part in laying out the assumptions about how the financial crisis would affect the auto sector in those months ahead after the Lehman failure. Confronted by a collapse in auto sales and revenue, our executives wanted the so-called, quote, 50-50 forecast, the most likely outcome, not the rosy one, not one biased to the downside. It was a lesson about keeping the faith in the facts, the process, and prevailing in the end. Every great leader I have known stayed focused on a plan and demonstrated trust in the people, the process, and the facts. As you start your career, have the courage to give straight answers based on the data and analysis, not what people want to hear. Challenge your own preconceived notions with a healthy splash of data, and be skeptical, but not cynical. You can help economics move closer to a mature science by combining your unbiased detective work and scientific method, including more experiments with better data. My essential leadership principles: people first, including everyone, stay linked to the data and analysis, be kind, and show respect for others. Don't be afraid to explore your options. Well, speaking of leadership, it's an honor to serve our country under the leadership of Secretary Penny Pritzker. Secretary Pritzker has been steadfast in her commitment toward commercial diplomacy, trade and investment, innovation, the environment, and making our agency's public assets, including all of the GDP data and census data, and much more, of better quality and accessibility. You made an excellent choice to study economics, and your degree places you in a position to contribute to the future landscape of the global economy. I believe that each of you can be inspired by the work of these Nobel laureates. You were given a launch pad at this superb university, and now it's time to use your ingenuity to chart the beginning of your journey. There's nothing more valuable to you than this foundation of support. It's embodied in your degree and the people who share in your future success. Our world needs you. Make your future in a way that brings the world to a better place. Thank you. Best wishes on your journey. And as a Notre Damer, this is difficult to say, but I will say it: go blue.
To graduate with a BA or a BS in economics is a major achievement. As I mentioned before, our major is one of the most challenging on this campus. But a few of our students have performed with exceptional distinction. Some have won special prizes, and some will graduate with honors in economics. I am now going to ask the 15 recipients of honors and prizes to stand in place when their names are called, and to remain standing until all have been recognized. Please hold your applause until all of them have been announced. Mr. Anthony Agnosa, Ferrando Prize and highest honors. Ms. Leah Bart, Sims Prize, Ferrando Prize and highest honors. Mr. Sungwoo Cho, high honors. Mr. Jacob Hankin, Osterweil Prize. Mr. Albert Hune, I believe, is not here. He graduated in December. Mr. Adam Karabatakis, high honors. Mr. Anant Kesavan, Parker Prize, high honors. Mr. Gabriel Khan, Sims Prize. Mr. Hee-Sung Kim, high honors. Ms. Cassie Kirkland, Sims Prize, Osterweil Prize, and high honors. Mr. Sang-Hoon Kong, high honors. Ms. Ji-Ying Lin, high honors. Mr. Jacob Ruby, Parker Prize, high honors. Mr. Yishuan Wang, Sims Prize, Ferrando Prize, and highest honors. Ms. Nyao Yu, Ferrando Prize, and highest honors. Congratulations. You may be seated. Before we begin the next part of our program, I do want to recognize the efforts and achievements of our faculty advisors. Each student has an advisor, and most students rely on their advisors for precious advice about how best to navigate the field of economics and how best to navigate our department. Speaking from a faculty perspective, I know that we could never maintain the quality of our undergraduate program without the dedicated and intelligent work of our advisors. I will ask each one to stand and remain standing. Please hold your applause until I identify all of them. Ron Caldwell. Ed Cho is absent. Mitchell Dudley. Chris Prue is absent. Stan Cito, and Adam Stevenson. Thank you. I also want to thank the people who worked extremely hard to ensure the festivity of this evening in Power Center. I will ask them to stand and wave when I call their names. Please, again, hold your applause until I complete the list. It may be difficult to find these people. They are working, even as I speak, throughout the Power Center. Olga Mustada, who is the Student Services Coordinator of the undergraduate program. She organized this entire event. All year round, however, she is a tireless and effective advocate of all undergraduate students. Lauren Pillay, Head of Student Services. Lauren and I work closely together on strategic planning for the undergraduate program. She takes my wish list and makes it a reality. In fact, she makes up my wish list for me. And then there's Mary Mangum, the department manager. She is what makes this department go. Other key members of the administrative and student services staff are Rhonda Abrigo, Laura Flack, Lisa Rogers, Leigh Tutt, and Vinny Viraragavan, and Colleen Waitley. Not all of them are in this room at this time, but I'm sure they will hear you if you applaud loudly enough. So I think they deserve a thundering ovation. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to confer our mock diplomas on all of the graduates. And so each student will be announced and come on stage and receive a certificate and our congratulations. Many students are involved in this portion of the ceremony, and so we'll try to proceed with all deliberate speed. If you wish to take a picture, we will be at your disposal after the ceremony. So at this time, I call on Ms. Laura Flack and Ms. Dong-Yi Wan to read the names of each graduate as he or she appears on the stage. But we're going to start with the recipients of prizes and honors. And so I call on my colleague Frank Stafford, the Director of Honors, and my colleague Professor Andrei Levchenko, who is the Director of Undergraduate Studies, to come forward and to help me at this time to congratulate the honors and prize-winning recipients. So, Frank, you're going to read the names?
Sure, that's fine.
Very good. When your name is called, please come forward.
It's a pleasure to read these names. These students have done tremendous work. Our program in honors requires that they do innovative research on their own, which is very difficult even for faculty and for students when you're trying to do a new project. What have I found? Does the theory make sense? Does the data make sense? Can I make a good interpretation of it? Students have done this, and it's been impressive work, and I'm pleased to announce the winners of the degrees in honors. First, Anthony Anioso. Yeshuan Wang. Cassie Kirkland. Leah Bart. Songwoo Cho. Song-Hoon Kong. Anand Kasavan. Kasavan. Adam Katabargaris. Jacob Ruby. Nyo Yu. Zi Ying Lin. I got everybody? Good. I think so. Oh, wait a minute. There's somebody. Oh, there you are. I was wondering, this gave me this card at the last minute, just to make it exciting. All right. Hee-Sung Kim, sorry. Congratulations. That's it. We're all set.
That's it. Okay. That's it. Okay.
Thank you. Sure.
And now we're going to continue with all of the graduates of 2016 in economics.
Siti Fatima.
Adriana Wanzarawi.
Walter Tang.
Ray Russell.
Joshua Tan.
William
Kaluwert. Brandon McConney.
Yojun So.
Lukman Harif Saifutin.
Carvin Leo.
Jun Hao Yup.
Gavin Gao.
Nida Javid.
Melissa Chandanan.
Christy Yupser.
Kelvin Taewon Young.
Hyun Wook Che.
Nina LaSalle.
Zachary Zukowski. Jacob Robert Mitchell.
Yue Fang. Xiaohe You. Renee Gu.
Jie Zhang.
Jia Xiang.
I'll get this one. Okay. Lansing Jiang.
Feliska Penn.
Thomas Stewart. Nick Pose. Donovan Reed. Took me a minute. Chandler Wally.
Well fried.
Brandon Joseph Adams.
Alex Schwartz.
Heather Smallwood.
Lindsay Wong.
Pritum Mishra.
Jesse Selvin.
Anika Ajampur. Sarah Estes. Catherine Barutas. Alex Wozniak. Tony Kovachev. Santiago van Merkebe. Felipe Vivieros de Maura. Hallie Matthews. Chelsea Annabella Tilsty. Peter Teleresco.
Claire Mills.
Leah Elliott.
Francis DeFazio.
Parker Moesta. Imran Hakim. Anna Ferrer. Anita Shaw.
Wei Ching Lin. Mian San. Yin Yin Chu. Chi Chen.
Serena Fung.
Emily Shao.
Emily Lauren McDonald. Mardiana Binti Mudyasin. Max Goldshine. Daniel Weinstein. Benjamin Stark Lowenstein. Kunal Kapoor. Michael Roy. Matthew Steinmetz. Christopher Penoyer. David Pagnuco. Christian Graham. Lucas Marion.
Jimin Choi.
Nikhil Gulati. Drew Bernard. Alec Bartimer. Brandon Alden. John Richards. Andrew Olson. Andrew Young. Jason Twan. Kelsey Anna Chapikis. Casey Cameron. Joel Lim. Andrew Deodato. Nathan Velian. Ryan Goulet. Max Sargent. Kirsten Ellen Ho. Brian Robert Johnson.
思雨珠，孟迪林，雨林谋，易瑞晨，朴娇珠。
Saad Jangda. Jared Samard. Alexander Martino. Nick Diordio. Brad Legard. Ethan Pilsner. Zachary Brown. Alex Saloom. Brian Propey. Justin Mayer.
郝路，
Steven Rosenberg. Matt Munzel. Maria Sohail. Ashlyn Busil. Katie Colasanti. Kelsey Pridemore. Carrie Martin. Samantha Kagan. Joshua Kreitman. Andrew Weiss. Arbor Lychee. Danielle Schindler. Jacob Lightman. Jared LaPouf. Jack Roth. Oh. Britton Doctor. Elliot Peck. Karen Swergold. Stephen Schaub. Peter Bell. Alex Scharf. Jessica Tucker. Megan Kagzanowski. Gabriel Kahn. Luke Patterson. David Nyren. Jack Edelman. Jack Charles Kocher. Jimmy June. Richard Kim. Evan Park.
学飞胡。
Alexander Fetter. Abhishek Kumar. Matthew Pesavento. Dominic Mastruserio. Alexander Peck. Jacob Fritz. Nate Sell. Zachary Sandler. Maximilian Blinderman. Darwin Hadley. Mark Morley. Thomas Rickelman. Karun Malhotra. Matthew Hoffman. Deepu Nadimpali. Ani Chen. Isha Gupta. Christopher Zachariah. Katrina Strauss. Spencer Goldman. Alexandra Zdiev. Anastasia Uren. Blake Reebok. Daniel Finn. John Holland.
Vicky Chen.
Joseph Payon. Alec Liebeck. Adam Green. Jacob Hankin. Ryan Marchetti. Olivia Fennick. Shreya Khanna. Hannah Lovelace. Simroom Chuvda. Raheel Nag. Blake Arnold. Vamika Bajaj. Amruthra Sivakuman. Michael Doa. Kaylee Aloisi. Sarah Horowitz. Anna Wiedewien. Alexandra Trika.
Helen Chen. Xingyang Wang.
Tak Hong Lam.
Yongqi Yang. Xintong Zhu.
Max Roujon. Benjamin Shikani Lloyd. William Edward Wagner III. Anthony Joseph DeRisso. Pak Ho Shen. Christopher Peterson. Vivian Jiang. Derek Yan. Bradley Hoosier. Adam Aldine. Go ahead.
Catherine Yang. Siyuan Liu.
Elise Zhao. Alexandra Kane. Sarah Stearns. Nicholas McGovern. Travis Bergman. Corey Lane Clemens. Sean Farshi. Chandan Suryadevi. Alec LaFontaine. John Hickey Jr. Samantha DeGregory. Ryan Vandershans. Danica Harris. Leilani Moore. Calvin Durant Amin. Quinn Manfredini. Michael Bauer. Kenneth Barwin. Matthew Trumbore. Sunny the Road.
Justin Lee.
Holly Zhang. Evan Wildstein.
Harrison Lim.
Roha Lee. Brandon Lerner. Spencer Locke. Robert Friedner. Hannah Cross. Annie Kruya. Walid Badawi. Brian Lockwood. Rahul Dulay. Brendan May. Eric Schmidt. All right. Aliraza Jivani. Michael Stathakis. Seth Rayburn. Alexander Bredenkamp. Elaine Wang. Emma Dong.
Tammy Huang.
Stephen Miller. Kevin Lamb. Lauren Hall. Jacob Heft. Wu Rowe. Angela Ryu.
Jiyoung Cha.
Leonard Ong. Nathan Zulik.
Fu An Kwan.
Buyakorn Waswamprong. Fyodor Pavlovich Murugin. Christy Villarosa. Aishwarya Dume.
I'll tell you something truly. For me personally, this evening is a high point of the academic year. I hope it has been memorable for you too. Class dismissed.